Hi, and welcome back to Real Opinions. This is kind of the first time that we've got a big group of all of us. It's the closest we've got to like a normal Real Opinions episode since, like 7 or 8 months
That's
ago.
very true. Exciting.
We're this year we're trying to do a 2016 best of, which is our third best of now on Real Opinions as well.
Anniversary, wow.
Yeah.
3 years running, dude.
So, and I'm sure no one will get into arguments at all.
I don't feel passionately enough about any of these films to get in an argument, so it's so fun.
That's a good
I'm worried I'm just going to get caught out on the illegibility of a film as usual.
I don't know.
I think we should be fine.
The rule is mainly meant to just stop things that we saw at festivals so that other people can use them next year. Not as we're not going to get that pedantic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we are doing, because obviously since we're UK based, we're just doing UK release for this year. So that includes the 2016 Oscar films as well. So that's like The Revenant, Big Short, and all of that.
Vice versa, it means that a lot of the 2017 Oscar films we can't do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we doing this? So we're doing the same format as before, where we'll kind of go through and we'll do our 10 to 6, one each, and then have like a break, and then a 5 to 1 each.
Cool.
Great. Does anyone want to go first?
Do you mind if I nip on first, just because I have to go in 45 minutes, just in case I fall off and then...
Yeah, that sounds good.
Right, so I'm counting down straight from 10 to 6, yeah?
Yeah.
Right. Number 10 was Swiss Army Man. 9 was Kubo and the Two Strings. 8 was Sing Street. 7 was Train to Busan. And 6 was Don't Breathe.
I've seen one of those.
Which one?
Don't Breathe.
Quite horror heavy. I haven't seen any of those.
You haven't seen any of them?
No.
Oh, right. Okay, so it's just me and Ben discussing this one then, I suppose.
Jack, which ones have you seen? Have you seen all of them?
I've seen all of them, yeah.
Yeah, good.
Train to Busan, I've recommended it to Harrison, because I thought that was genuinely one of the ones that I didn't expect to like so much.
Exactly. It's such a well-made zombie movie. I really didn't expect it to be as kind of like impressive and just genuinely inventive in the in its plotting and in its kind of in the way it presents zombies as well, because it is literally just zombies on a train. That's literally all it is, and yet it's so impressive as a zombie movie. It kind of covers so much new ground, which is crazy.
I think it was interesting that lots of people kind of complained when the World War Z trailers came out, because they did that almost like there's so many zombies, it's like a flood. But I think that this film actually managed to do it well, while not meaning they didn't take away from the horror, kind of added to it.
I think it helped that they used actual real people rather than just CGI zombies.
Yeah.
And pretty much everything was real.
But I'd say that was a good schlocky B-movie horror. I wouldn't take it as a completely serious horror. Definitely.
It was definitely... I mean, it was like a crowd pleaser, wasn't it? There was a lot of... I saw it at Fright Fest, and it was full, and everyone was going insane and gasping and laughing, and it was a proper audience movie. So
yeah,
it was awesome. And
I wanted to see it. It's just I didn't. None of the cinemas. There's only one cinema in Doncaster.
It's only small cinemas.
Yeah,
exactly. One cinema in Doncaster, and it only shows mainstream stuff.
Yeah, it was hard to hunt it down, but I'm pretty sure it comes out on DVD relatively soon, and it's well worth hunting down. Harrison, what was the one that you had seen?
Don't Breathe, which is in mine, so we can talk about that.
But you liked that, didn't you?
Me.
Yeah, you liked Don't Breathe.
I keep cutting out, so I don't know who you're talking to.
Maybe we should just say the name.
Yes.
Harrison, you cunt.
Yes, I did like that. It's in mine.
Yeah?
So,
good. I feel like less of a fraud now.
Does that tee you up?
Do you want me to do it?
Yeah, go for it.
Is that?
Yeah, sure.
Number 10 is Don't Breathe.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, good segue.
There you go. Number 9 was Hardcore Henry, because I enjoyed it. I don't care.
You like headaches.
It was good. It didn't give me a headache, so whatever. I didn't have a headache.
Yeah, it was good fun, wasn't it?
Number 8 was The Revenant, which I guess over time I've liked a little less.
Yeah.
But still there. Number 7's a documentary I saw called The Frankenstein Complex.
All right.
Which is about old creature designers in Hollywood, and it goes from Harryhausen. Well, no, it actually goes from Lon Chaney silent movie era through to Harryhausen through to 80s, like, you know, The Thing and things, right up to Jurassic Park and then even the modern age. And it talks about how they do it. It talks about, like, some of the personal anecdotes and, like, how they're undertreated in Hollywood. It talks about the move to CGI, and it covers a lot of stuff, but it seems like it doesn't ever have to skimp out on details or anything. And I think if you like, you know, creature movies and are just interested in special effects, it's really, really good, and I enjoyed it a lot.
What do you say was the name of that one again?
I think it's called Creature Designers, then the subtitle is The Frankenstein Complex.
Yeah.
It's on Amazon. That's where I found it.
Did you have to track it down online, or?
I just came across it when I was on Amazon. I just happened to stumble into it. But yeah, it was really fun. And they got interviews with loads of cool people. You've got, like, Guillermo del Toro, Rick Baker, Tom Savini, loads of directors,
all the big dudes,
actors, Doug Jones, yeah, all the big names. So yeah, I thoroughly recommend that. And then my number 6 was Moana, which I enjoyed way more than I should have. No, that's not even true. You know what? I got that wrong. Number 6 is Arrival. I should have put Moana higher.
Spoiler!
Sorry. Yeah, Arrival was very intelligent and very well made, but for reasons that we discussed in our own podcast, the ending just brought it down a little for me.
Really?
Otherwise, it could have potentially had a shot for being in the more... Not like the... I like when it gets into the whole time distortion element. It was the very, very ending.
Right.
As in the last 5 minutes where I felt like it became both pretentious and soppy and sentimental in a way that the rest of the film wasn't. Like, it all of a sudden goes from this really kind of restrained, smart thing to something where there's dialogue like, I thought meeting the aliens would be the most amazing thing that happened, but it was you. and I was like, oh no. So that brought it down for me. And it was the music during the emotional parts of the movie. It was such pretentious music. It made the whole thing sound like a cancer research advert and not a film.
Stupid emotions.
No, but it was just bad emotional music. I didn't like it. It made it sound art housey and pretentious. But the rest of the film was great. Number 6.
Number 6.
That's really funny when we have, like, someone chooses, like, a film that's good, but it kind of comes, like, a lot higher in the list than some of the other people, so they're kind of justifying why it's there, and it ends up, like, we're just spouting criticisms of it, and then it's just like, why is this in your top 10?
These are all reasons it's terrible.
Chris, do you want to do your bottom 5 then?
Yeah, okay, cool. So I'll start off in at number 10. I've got Zootopia or Zootropolis, whatever the hell we call it over here.
Which do we call it?
Yeah,
I think it's Zootropolis here.
We call it Zootropolis because a German water park is called Zootopia, so they have the copyright.
Has it just got loads of like, farm animals running around in a water park?
I have no idea, but I just know that that's the reason why.
Yeah. Do you want me to go into just quick reasons on each one, or should I just skim through? Yeah. Well, I mean, I think as everyone knows, the common thing with Zootopia, you know, it's pretty enjoyable. Good Disney animation studio film, and then you know, it's a bit more intelligent than the average kind of animation film. It's, you know, tries to reach for some bigger themes. Not always successful in those, but on the most part. On the most part, does it quite well. Yeah. In at number 9, I've got High Rise. I think I've been a bit generous on High Rise there, but it's very much, you know, really enjoyable. I really like the production design on that, the like retro future. And should we mention Hiddlebum again, just quickly?
Hiddlebum,
just in again. Okay.
A nostalgic reference.
Yeah. Number 8, I've put in Room, number 8. Literally just January release for this year, but I feel like the previous year's Oscar films kind of come in a bit like higher on our lists, because by the end of the year we're kind of a bit like, you know, they've had their awards, they've had their nods and stuff. I feel like I'm a bit more kind of harsher in how I rank them, but
I agree.
Room's obviously a brilliant film. It deals with, you know, some really, really good stuff in like really like sincere and difficult way. I mean, and also I think what I was most impressed with is how it like for the first half of the film like captures like the cinematic viewpoint really from like a child's perspective, which I think is really difficult. It's not just okay, here the main character is a child. It's like it's really from the perspective of a child, which I think it does really, really well. And it kind of things are going on, but you don't quite comprehend them.
Yeah.
Like as a viewer, and that really makes you feel on a level with the main character. Number 7, again, I've got Spotlight. Really engaging film. It's not quite one that I feel that's cinematic enough though to rank higher because I felt like it wasn't lent anything by being seen in the cinema. It could have been. I could watch it on TV. I could watch it on DVD. But that said, it's a fascinating story. Later on, it gets really tense, and you're like, as they get deeper into the investigation, and the way it makes investigative journalism so like dramatic is really fantastic. Totally it really involves you, and I think it's also really accessible. Great performances as well. So that's why I've got Spotlight in there. Then at number 6, I've got Patterson, which I saw quite recently. I found that quite enjoyable. And it's just kind of a really interesting thing on like, creative process and stuff like that. And it's just a nice film. It's got some really nice moments and kind of observations of people and good humour in that as well. Like there's a lot of really funny moments that are just from small kind of mannerisms and stuff that people do. And you're like, yeah. So it's just a nice film.
I'm quite surprised that it got so popular this year because it was not like, if I looked at the slate of stuff, I wouldn't say that would be the indie film that got quite a lot of notice this year. Like, I wouldn't predict that. But it has gotten quite a lot of publicity for it, and it's gotten, like you said, quite a few people putting in their top 10s.
I think it helped that Adam Driver was involved.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'll do my one then.
Cool.
Shall I?
Yeah. That's good.
So at my number 10, I've got The Nice Guys. Because
interesting.
I mean, it definitely had some flaws, and it wasn't as great as I was hoping it to be, but it was... Yeah. There were some moments where it genuinely made me laugh out loud, which I didn't have enough of this year with a lot of the comedies. And it's one that I could come back to, like watching it with friends or watching it with family. And it's not just because it's accessible to everyone. It's just because it's so funny that I think someone will laugh at something at some point, no matter what. At number 9, I've got a few documentaries. These are like 3 documentaries that are all around the same level. It's just that they all have different kind of topics, so I just couldn't put one above the other. But there's Weiner, which is the I reviewed on the channel, but it's kind of like the following Anthony Weiner, the New York congressman. It's funny, and also it's interesting how it follows just one person. There's Tickled, which is that tickling controversy conspiracy theory film, which actually turned out to be quite interesting. Like it's as well, that's kind of really funny, and that's kind of like a mystery. And then there was the 13th, which is following the history of the 13th Amendment through America. That's on Netflix, and that's kind of the I suppose it's probably gonna be Oscar nominated, if not Oscar winning, because it's focusing on a really big topic, and it's really controversial at the moment because it's all about imprisonment in the US. And that was really great.
Is that the Ava DuVernay one?
Yeah. So it's so anyone can watch it right away, right now, worldwide, and it wasn't incredible, and I think they kind of focused too much on one viewpoint while also kind of mocking the other viewpoint. But I think that overall it was very well made, and it really did well to focus kind of like how you talked about the horror one, like it did a whole multiple generations of stuff, and it was really interesting, and I think it managed to do that well. 8 was The Revenant, kind of like how you said, Harrison. Over the time, it's just. I really like how technical and how beautiful it looked, but besides that, it hasn't left much of a lasting impression. 7 is Kubo and the Two Strings.
I love Kubo,
which I was genuinely really surprised by, because I definitely think that there are plot problems with it. Like the second act, I thought was quite boring and really generic, but it was just so beautiful to watch, and as well, by the end of it, I was more emotionally invested than I thought I was for the rest of the film.
The animation is just so stunning as well. Like I think it's easily the best stop motion film I've seen probably almost ever. It's so it's so subtle in how like the Japanese influences are in it, and it's so subtle in how kind of like they insert tiny little frames here and there. It's just so neatly put together, and there's so much love and care there.
It's the first stop motion animation film where I've seen it and I thought, like I thought at moments that could have been 3D.
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah,
looked because it's so
exactly.
fluid. Like you
Yeah.
don't even get the jumps anymore. Like it's just
Exactly.
so impeccably made. And then 6 was Zootopia, surprisingly, because I was so surprised by it. Like I was going in expecting it. People were talking about how you said like the themes were not always perfect throughout, and they were kind of in your face at moments. But I thought that it handled it very well for a kids' film and a Disney film.
It's,
No less.
it's like we
And-
said, it's not just like simple and clear cut as racism bad. It does
Yeah.
like approach. It looks at things and goes like, sometimes people are racist for this reason, and anyone can be racist. It's very kind of like balanced and sort of
Yeah.
considered, and sort of looks at. It doesn't just go, if there's a racist person, he's a bad person. It kind of genuinely. I think it is good for kids to sort of see in that respect, because it makes it a lot less simple, but without making it too complex. It's like a very right balance for kids.
They managed to make a very complicated issue very simple enough so that anyone could understand it, and I think that it was a allegory or something that didn't get too old, which I find a lot with these kind of kids films, is that they harp on something so much that by the end of it you're sick of it.
Yeah.
The only thing that really pissed me off about this film was that stupid
The
song.
song. God,
That
fucking
awful song.
Was that like Shakira or something?
Yeah. No, it was Gazelle. Don't forget.
It doesn't go. It's like 3 times in the film as well.
Yeah.
And there's that also. There's that bit. The app that's related to her, and that was just awful. You know, the app that the characters use.
I didn't
to
know there
look
was an
like
app.
No, in the film.
Jeez.
You've got like a thing on their phone that makes them look like her.
No, that
and the fat,
now I remembered it.
fat
That's even
leopard
worse.
thing
Yeah.
is dancing, and it was that was awful. That stuff was awful.
That might knock it down to 7 for me, just remembering that it still exists.
This is why it wasn't even in my top 10 in the end. I was like, no.
It was incredibly annoying, but I think I've kind of mentally blocked it out more than just letting it sink down the film.
Yeah, I know. I think I must have too, because I was like, the song?
Yeah, exactly.
And then it's in there 3 times. I'm like, what?
Great. So shall we go back round to Ben for your top 5?
Shall I name a few honourable mentions now, and then we can round them all up later?
Yeah, if you want to speed through them.
Yeah. The Jungle Book, because again, I just really did not expect it to be anywhere near as good as it was. Room as well, because it's great, but I didn't want to, like Chris was saying about the last year's Oscar movies, after a while they seem to fall down the ranks quite a bit, because you saw them quite a while ago, but Room was like an incredible piece of work. Deadpool as well. I'm kind of a bit baffled as to why that didn't reach my top 10. It was just outside the top 10, but I do have a lot of love for it. And 10 Cloverfield Lane as well, which again I have a lot of love for. It does go very silly towards the end. The end kind of peeled off far too much, but I love the kind of stuff that's in the bunker, and John Goodman is so good at it that I had to include it somewhere. But right, top 5. 5, Captain America Civil War, because again, that might just be like my biggest surprise of the year. Like the trailers made it look so downtrodden and dull, and like me and Harrison, like always used to joke that it looked like it took place in a series of car parks. It just looked really really dull and lame. But they really did something special with it, and it has the airport fight alone. I think is probably one of Marvel's best moments ever.
I think every action sequence in it would be the best action sequence in a Marvel film if it wasn't for the other ones in the film. Like that one where the car chase through the tunnel's really good. It's all the action is incredible, and it's just that different ones upstage different ones. It genuinely gets better as it goes on.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I think actually thinking about it, the only thing I would say is that the ending to me, that final kind of climactic battle, didn't quite trump the airport battle.
Well, it doesn't in terms of scale, but it's not meant to.
Yeah, it was a lot more personal, but I think on a spectacle scale, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but either way.
I think that stood out more for me just because, like you said, because it was personal.
Yeah.
And I hadn't had that kind of personal conflict in a Marvel film, at least, like, not on that scale and not for ages. And it was, while the airport scene was fun, that one was the first one where I felt like I was actually interested in who won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With all the other Marvel fights, are just like it's just fight. Like
Yeah.
it's like toys smashing
Yeah, exactly.
together.
Whenever it feels
But
just like
later on,
a skirmish, like a
Yeah.
play fight. Even the airport scene, it feels like a play fight. Like they're not really trying to hurt each other. But that one at
Whereas
the end
that
is
fight,
genuinely
yeah.
has stakes.
My problem with that, though, although there is stakes, you know that they're going to come out of it alive because
Yeah.
there's another Avengers movie. In fact, there's 2 more.
I've watched it a couple more times now, and I actually have grown to like Black Panther. So I don't...
Yeah.
That problem I don't have. My only problem is that no one dies, and it does feel like they were afraid to do anything too drastic. As bad as it gets,
if they can't even kill off
and
War
then they fix
Machine...
them.
Yeah, if they can't even kill off War Machine, then there's like...
Yeah.
There is some serious... Like, I forgot he even existed until he showed up in Civil War. I was like, why is Don Cheadle hanging about?
Actually,
he
Ben,
also
you're
has an
wrong.
Iron Man suit.
You're wrong.
What?
They killed Peggy. They killed the old lady.
Oh, yeah, finally. But I thought they'd killed her in Winter Soldier, so I was really
So
surprised
did
when
I.
they killed her again.
I thought she was already dead.
But either way.
It's just like, she's dead. I was just like, who? Who's died now? And then I realised it was the one I already thought was dead.
Right, anyway, moving on. Number 4 is... I know Harrison might get a little bit aggy about this. Number 4 is Green Room.
Why would I get aggy?
Well, you said you didn't like it and didn't understand why anybody liked it.
No, I said it wasn't that great. I'm not going to get mad.
Still. I think I just miss you getting mad at me.
No, it's not
Baiting
bad
the
enough.
Harrison.
Yeah, it wasn't drastic enough. It needs to be something more like... Yeah.
Call me a dick.
Green Room was just fine. It was just a generic thriller set in one location, like all of them.
But I think
Ben's
there was
favourites.
something special about the way it kind of did the violence. It felt so much more brutal and so much more involving. Like, usually with films like this, particularly like out-and-out slashers and thrillers and stuff, they kind of try and go a bit more gimmicky with the violence and a bit more comic-y to get a bit more crowd-pleasing. Whereas this was so, like, downtrodden with it. When someone gets, like, mangled by a dog, it's genuinely quite difficult to watch. And it's very, very, like... I think if I had one thing to say about it, I would have liked Patrick Stewart to kind of step it up a bit. He was really good in it, but I feel like there was, like, another layer of menacing that he didn't quite break. But the rest of it, I thought, was just very... It was so concise and clever in the way it kind of told the story in a very confined setting, and I like that. Number 3 is what Jack's already said, The Nice Guys. I love Shane Black's writing, so whatever he writes is probably going to be great, but the fact that he did another buddy cop movie and the fact that it had Ryan Gosling in it just kind of helped an awful lot. And it was just very, very, very funny. And then number 2 is, again, another one we've already talked about, Arrival. Basically everything you said, Harrison, but I didn't find the end pretentious. I don't know what it was. I was, like, totally sucked in. But I just totally... I think because I didn't read much about it going in, I really didn't expect it to go the direction it went in. I thought it was just a generic alien movie.
Yeah, no, I was happy with that. It was literally the last 5 minutes.
Yeah. And it was...
Yeah.
But so, like, when they did start rounding off all the time stuff, I was like, oh my god, this is, like, insane. I just totally
that was
lost myself in it. Yeah. And then my number 1 is one we were talking about before the episode started, Hunt for the Wilder People, which, again, like, I expected to be good, but really didn't expect it to be this good, because it's very kind of... The beginning is quite offbeat and funny in a kind of very hipstery New Zealand Taika Waititi way. And then it kind of morphs into something that's a lot more dark as it goes on, but also very kind of uplifting in a completely different way. And it's really heartwarming and just... It's like the loveliest film, as well as being such an all-rounder in terms of the emotions it deals with and the kind of the thriller aspects and the comedy aspects. It's something that's, like, so very, very funny, but totally, like, tense at the same time.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of charm, but that doesn't mean that sometimes when people say that, they
Yeah.
say like, "Oh, it was just really nice," but it's got, as well as that, it's funny.
Exactly.
On top of that, like, it's charming and funny,
It's
which is
so
nice. And
incredibly well made and so well balanced. I think it would be, so many people have tried to make something that's that kind of balanced across a number of different genres, and they've just failed so much. But this, it just feels, it doesn't even look like it feels so effortless. I think that's what I'm trying to get across. It's so seamless in the way it deals with everything, and like the little chemistry between Sam Neill and Julian Dennison is just adorable. And even though they're both kind of quite nasty characters in different ways, that you can't help but love them and entirely get on board with them, which again is very, very impressive. So yeah, number one is Hunt for the Wilder People.
I really did want to see it, because
yeah,
I loved What We Do in the Shadows. I know it's not, I know they're quite different, but I loved that one, so I was excited. But I just couldn't see it, and I was going to watch it last night, and Netflix broke. I'm putting that out there on in the recording. Netflix, you shit.
But it's good that it's available on Netflix, because that means that like it was I had a small release here in the UK, so it's good that it could eventually get to more people over the course of this year. Yeah.
It got a Netflix release before it even got a DVD and Blu-ray release, which is crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I didn't expect it so soon. Like, I got the notification for it, and I was quite surprised.
Yeah. Cool. Right, who wants to go next?
I think it's Harrison next.
Is it me? Okay.
Yes.
Like, this is where you realise that I did see a fair amount of films this year. I genuinely did, but I only saw trash.
Yeah, me too. Picking a 10 was difficult.
My bottom 10 is really hotly contested, and there's so much that I could put in there. This, I really was clutching at straws, but I would say that 5 through to 1 are almost interchangeable in terms of their rankings, because I watched most of them again and realised I like them basically the same amount. But this is the arbitrary order I put them in. Number 5 is Moana, because I barely had any issues with it. It looks beautiful. The characters are really likeable and fun, and I adored the music. I liked the soundtrack more than I liked the Frozen soundtrack, because I liked every single song in this one, and that very rarely happens. I
was genuinely very surprised with Moana, actually. Even I was like, I went with Sarah just because she wanted to see it, and it was a Disney movie, and I was kind of like, oh, another Disney movie. But I was genuinely surprised with how, not just how good all the songs and kind of animation was, but how clever the plotting was, and how unpredictable it all came together. Like, I expected something really generic and got something the complete opposite. So
I mean, like, just to harp on the generic point, it is, even though she's not a princess and they keep saying that throughout the film, it is basically the same as like a Disney princess film. But there's there's no love interest.
No.
There's none of those cliches at all. It's like, you know how Frozen kind of did something different from the princess film?
Yeah.
This kind of goes further. And does something more different. So yeah, I love that. Number 4, I have The Nice Guys, which, same kind of thing. I love Shane Black. I love his humour, and I'm going to say exactly what Jack said. I think there are flaws, and there were some moments where I found the humour slightly forced or awkward, but...
there were the occasional bits.
But it made me laugh more than most comedy films make me laugh. The performances are both very good. I found the action genuinely entertaining. And there are at least like 2 moments in it that I absolutely loved. And I liked the period setting. There's loads of good stuff. I just think that sometimes it wasn't quite as funny as I was hoping. And I don't think it's as like clever or as well written as Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, for example. Number 3 is Civil War, which...
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is easily better.
Yeah. Number 3 is Civil War. And I basically agree with everything Ben said. It was just so surprising. It was so much better than I ever anticipated it being. And there's very few things wrong with it at all. It's one of my favourite Marvel movies now. Genuinely is. Number 2 is Zootopia. I thought it was great. Apart from that that Shakira song is genuinely stopping it from being my number 1 of the year. It was a damn good noir.
I can see the headlines tomorrow. Zootopia steals the Real Opinions top 10.
It could have been number 1 if it wasn't for that fucking song. but it's a genuinely good noir, and it just happens to have animals in it. I loved it.
It's now the bookie's favourite for the release.
I bloody loved it. And then number 1 is a film that, if like at the beginning of the year you told me this film was going to be my number 1 of the year, I'd be really disappointed with the year. And I am. So, my number 1 film of the year, just because I've been able to rewatch it and enjoy it every time I watch it, because even though I have quite a few problems with it, it is consistently entertaining. Deadpool. Deadpool. It's funny.
Sorry, what?
That sounded like Chris was just pissed off. I don't know if he didn't hear me
I
or if he's annoyed.
just didn't hear.
Okay. I thought it was just like he was so angry. Like
It did sound passive aggressive. Yeah.
I mean, Jack, you're welcome to edit it that way if you want. We haven't
Yeah,
argued that much.
yeah. I've missed editing it so that you sound awful every time. Yeah.
it's
But in all seriousness, what is your number 1 film?
Deadpool. Deadpool.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes.
I just heard pool, and I was like, pool?
I heard Pool and then tried to like backtrack and was like, there was a film called Pool? And then I think I was like,
No, it's honestly, it shouldn't be my number 1 because I have problems with it, and I think when we reviewed it, I gave it an 8 because the action's not that great. Sometimes it looks a little cheap. It's not always consistently funny, but I've rewatched it a lot. I still enjoy it. I still like the writing. I still like the characters, and I like all the visual things. The credit sequence is great. There you go. That's my number 1. That's how much I hate this year. My number 1 is an 8 out of 10 film. I feel like I damned it with a lot of faint praise there. I do think it is genuinely very enjoyable. I think it could have been better, but I do think it's a very, very fun, entertaining film, and I really, really, really respect Ryan Reynolds for it, and I think he's one of the best cast, not just superheroes, one of the best, like, most perfectly suited to his characters, actors out there, and
for sure, yeah. It's brought out a different side to him as an actor as well. I think he's doing a lot more kind of like zany roles now, and he's not scared to play characters that are a bit more off book, which is nice because it means he's not just doing standard rom-coms and stuff. Its
success, I think, is important for a lot of reasons because it is a little bit more different, even though it is still kind of safe different, if you know what I mean. Like it's different, but it's Hollywood different. But it pushes the bar out a little bit. It will make way for R-rated things, perhaps too many, but it's mostly good stuff that it will be encouraging, I hope.
I genuinely forgot Deadpool altogether and didn't. It didn't make my top 10.
Well, it was February, wasn't it? So it's very early.
If I remembered it, I would have put it on, so it can have an honourable mention from me.
Magnificent Seven was better than I expected it to be, and there's a film on Netflix called Spectral that is not awful, and I thought it was gonna be. There you go.
That's a great review.
If you can find Spectral, it starts off like a genuinely inventive action horror film. It was originally supposed to get a cinema release, and then it became Netflix original at the last minute. So it was weird. It looks quite expensive, and I'm like, how much money did Netflix put? But then I realized it's supposed to be a cinema film. Yeah. It's about ghosts in like some Middle Eastern war zone, but they're not ghosts. Well, at first they go there to try and figure out what's going on. Like everyone's like, maybe it's just a camera flash, and it kind of reminded me a bit of Arrival at the beginning. It was like they got like loads of experts over to try and just figure out what was going on, and they were debating it and talking, and it was genuinely interesting. And then towards the end, it became complete and utter schlock. To the point where imagine if Arrival turned into Independence Day in its last half hour. So it genuinely, like, all of a sudden characters just come out in mech suits, and you're like, what? Where did this come from? And helicopters fly in, and there's just like CGI ghost armies fighting mech suits, and you're like, just the first half of the film was people in rooms talking. It's very strange, but I would kind of recommend it. I enjoyed it. Enjoyed it, I guess. Oh, Son of Saul. I just didn't put that in there because it was depressing, but that was genuinely really good. That was a really good film. That's me done.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah, sure. It's Chris. Do you want to do yours then?
Go on, Chris.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So number 5, I've got Nocturnal Animals.
What? I haven't actually heard what you thought of that.
Yeah, I thought that was like really atmospheric, really interesting. I think the way it does the whole intertextual thing and like plays off it. Like a lot of the criticisms that I've heard are like that the main characters, obviously it's about reading the script written by the ex-husband. A lot of people criticize the one-dimensionality of the ex and Amy Adams' character, but I think they're purposefully archetypes, and I think it's
That's
really
the point,
interesting. Yeah, like I found it really, really interesting as the whole film, the way it plays out, how like self-reflective it is. Like every time you kind of get a chapter of the book, it changes what you think of what you've seen already, both about the characters and about the story. And I thought it was, really, really interesting, quite cerebral almost, like the way it goes through a lot of these different things. I found it really good. The only downfall is the ending, which is, if a bit predictable, it has to happen. It forces itself into a corner with the ending, I think.
Yeah.
Overall, then you think it's self-reflective and it changes what you thought of it already. So it works. It works. Number 4, I've got Rogue One. Thoroughly enjoyable. As everyone I think would agree. I don't really need to say too much about Rogue One. I think everyone, plenty's been said about Rogue One.
Yeah, there's been a lot said about Rogue One on both sides.
Yeah.
Me personally, I didn't really like it that much. It felt to me like what I expected when I heard Disney were rebooting Star Wars. Like it feels like the RoboCop remake or any other kind of sci-fi reboot. It's like, here are the things that you know.
I wouldn't go that far.
Which me and Harrison agree is not actually a bad film. It's
no,
film,
and I'm not saying Rogue One's a bad film either. I'm basically putting the RoboCop remake and Rogue One at the same level.
It's an interesting comparison.
Yeah, I think if I cared about the characters, I'd have enjoyed the whole thing more.
Yeah.
And more specifically, I think the last third is really good. But I was kind of, I was already bored, and so I wasn't as like, yes, as I think I could have been if I'd have cared about everything that led up to it. Because by that point, I felt like it almost lost me a little.
I liked it more the first time round. I saw it twice, and I think the second time round I was a little bit more worn out, and I noticed a lot of the plot holes and the way that you could easily see that they tried to reshape it in editing.
Yeah.
But I really liked it.
That doesn't bother me. It is just the fact that I did not give a flying fuck about Jin in the slightest. Like, I actually cared more about the characters in the prequels, and I genuinely stand by that. I genuinely cared more about them. I'm not saying the prequels are better, but I'm just saying I cared more about the characters in the prequels. They had personalities.
You prequel sympathizer.
Like, Jar Jar, at least I know what Jar Jar thinks. At least I know Jar Jar's personality.
Because he states it every 5 seconds.
Yes, whatever. No, I could not distinguish any of them in Rogue One apart from by race.
Oh god.
That's true.
For me, it was just what weapons they had. It was like, oh, big gun guy's coming. Oh, the guy with the stick. What about him? That was basically it, but still. I did really enjoy it.
I love Rogue One. Rogue One was great. But,
I haven't seen it a second time, so I'm worried for the second time. But I left liking it.
Yeah.
Like I had problems, but I wouldn't say that I didn't like it at all.
No, exactly.
I mean, I think controversial statement here. Well, not really. All Star Wars films have problems. Come on.
Yeah.
But you forgive them because it's Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how I see it. But anyway, I haven't gone for a rewatch, so I don't know how it will stand up. But yeah, really enjoyed it. Number 3, and I've edged this one because it's an original, as opposed to Star Wars being franchise. Number 3, I've got Arrival. Really nice to have a really solid sci-fi throughout. Not disappointing. Goes in a really interesting direction. Like I genuinely didn't see the kind of the time aspect coming in until obviously they start talking about how the language works, and then it was really cool how they did that. And you know, how they did that visually and, you know, work with things. It wasn't like linear, but I mean, that's obviously the whole point of it. But the fact they did it, but also made it pretty easy to understand. Like, I feel like some people go make the Inception comparison that like, oh my God, did you understand Arrival? And it's like, yes, it's so easy.
I think when we did the podcast, I think I did make an Inception comparison in the sense that I thought, this is the kind of film that is confusing for mainstream standards. That like other
but
people,
actually
like
very straightforward.
Like audiences will be able to watch it and feel smart.
Yeah,
it fills the same gap that Inception did, in that it's the smart blockbuster.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, it makes me very hopeful for the new Blade Runner. Thankfully, because I thought that was going to be a car crash. Anyway, number 2, and this is a film that I found really difficult to rank. So number 2, I put by Daniel Blake, and I found this one really, really difficult to rank because often, I guess, you know, your top 10 you'd rank based on entertainment value, how much you enjoy watching it, and Daniel Blake is not that in that sense of typical cinema going. If you go to go watch and have entertainment, enjoy yourself, and is inherently a very political film. But the reason it ranks so well is because that never gets in the way of like the characters and the story and stuff, and it's never in your face with what its messages are, even though you come out and you're just like, you know, wow, this is so everyday, this is so like relatable, I can see this, and it really does change the way you look at things. Like I said, literally like the day after I'd seen it, I basically encountered something that would have been a problem to Daniel Blake, like main character, just in like everyday life, and I was like, wow. So yeah, it's a really powerful film, really effective filmmaking, and Ken Loach is brilliant in the way that it absolutely, like what I said about Spotlight, it doesn't, that one I felt like didn't work as a film, as being cinema. Daniel Blake, in a really kind of subtle way, absolutely uses the medium of cinema to the best of its ability to tell the story, and it's really subtle about that as well. It's really nice when you don't have like an auteur or, you know, a really famous director being in your face and showy and pretentious and like, oh, I'm a fantastic director, I'm at Cannes, look at all these fantastic things. It's like, no, it's just straightforward, down to earth, great filmmaking. So
I
that's
saw
why I said
like
number 2.
I saw like 15 minutes of it when I was working in the cinema, and I agree based on the 15 minutes I saw. There you go.
I think its strength was the characters, but like, I think the thing that kind of stopped it from getting into my top 10 was just that while I did really like it, I don't think there's any reason for me to ever watch it again.
I
even
that
though
as well.
I agree that the political message was strong, but not, like you said, rubbing in your face all the time. I felt like I got everything out of it the first time from both the characters and the plot and its points.
Yeah, well, I think that's very much to its strength.
Yeah.
It's very kind of stripped back, but straightforward, and I think that's kind of what it wanted to be. It never tried to be pretentious or anything different.
It just gets its message across in a very powerful way. Yeah, and then complete other end of the spectrum. My number 1, I purely based on entertainment and enjoyment, is The Nice Guys. So many laugh out loud moments, like more than the average film. I love action comedy. There's, you know, also really kind of inappropriate, like not gore, but like, you know, just some splatter moments, like lovely, really great stuff. just so comedic. I love comedic violence, as well as just goofiness as well, like, you know, the toilet scene and everything.
I think,
then also the period detail as well just makes it, you know, just takes it to another level, that it manages to do, you know, all of that so successfully, and then also be really funny and be a good storyline, and you know, it's got all the elements you need.
It definitely has like some of my favourite stuff of the year. It has my favourite line of the year when they're driving in the car and they're talking about that old lady and who says she's seen her daughter, and Russell Crowe goes like, could that be true? And he goes like, no, she's as blind as a bat. If you painted a mustache on a car, she'd go, boy, that Omar Sharif sure does run fast. And I thought that was genuinely really clever and funny. So it is really good. I think, like me and Ben said, not quite Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Cool.
Anyway, dudes, I need to head off now quickly because
Yeah.
I've got a meeting in about 1 minute. So
Okay.
I'm sorry I have to duck out on yours, Jack, but I'll listen on the podcast when it's
That's
done.
fine.
Love to all.
Is he gone yet? Is he
Right.
gone?
Yeah, I see
Dick.
it. Good. Now I can put in all the pretentious films. But I had the same kind of problem with my ranking that you did, Chris, in that it's my top kind of 2 films aren't the ones that I go, oh, these were the most entertaining, but they were the ones that I just thought I really enjoyed the filmmaking the most. But then, it's struggling because it's struggling between if you're trying to make a list of what you think the best films were, or what you think your favorite films were, and I kind of struggled between that.
I try and compromise it.
Yeah.
But then that's how you end up with like a really serious number 2 and then just a really light-hearted number 1.
As you can see from my list, I did not attempt any such compromise.
I've compromised, but I've just gone with putting the better made films at the top because I want to be seen as a professional. But you guys don't want to be. That's all right.
My favourite film of the year had someone wanking to a unicorn.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot that happened. In
Numerous masturbation jokes.
At least it didn't have as many anal jokes as The Lobster. Do you not remember how The Lobster just had a really strange number of like anal jokes?
I remember you telling me that.
I remember there being I'm remembering the fact that there were a lot. I can't remember any of the jokes. I just remember there being a lot of them.
It's like there are a lot of references here. Okay.
But my number 5 is Arrival.
Yeah.
Because it's exactly as you said, Harrison. We already talked about it for about 30 minutes already on the podcast, but it's really interesting, and then at the end it gets a bit too up its own arse for like
but not because of the time travel reasons. It's because of the
not because of because of the emotional. It aims for an emotional ending as opposed to just a cool ending, I suppose.
I want to stress we both like
stupid.
We both like the non-linear time stuff. It is that, like you said, the slightly pretentious presentation of it.
Yeah.
And I think the scenes where they're talking about the language are some of the best written and most interesting scenes of the year, almost, for me. And which I think makes it stand out enough despite all that. My number 4 is Sing Street, the musical, which is, I think it's another one that, while obviously this year there's a musical coming out that I think everyone will end up liking. This is also one that I think a lot will surprise people if they say, oh, it's a musical, because it's not classic musical, it's all 80s music, really.
Yeah.
So it's the idea...
To get academic, it's a backstage musical in the sense that they don't burst into song without motivation.
Yeah.
Like it's like they're performing music and they're practicing.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're performing tracks. Yeah. It's sort of like a jukebox musical.
Yeah.
Where they kind of take the music from one band and turn it into a plot. But it's like a jukebox musical for a band that didn't exist before. I know. I think it kind of plays into that whole like the teenage dream of starting a band and being cool, and at the same time, it's wrong in the fact that they actually make decent music right off the bat, which is fun. But it's one of the songs that I actually come back to even after I've seen the film, and have been stuck in my head after I've seen the film, so that was good. Number 3 is, I think, the cringiest film I've put in the top 10, which is Your Name, just because it was really charming.
Anime.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was just really charming, and I feel like I'm going to watch it again and either go, oh yeah, I was right to like it so much, or I'll...
You'd be like, Jack, what are you? You're a despicable human.
Exactly, yeah. But it was just really charming, and it just was really heartwarming, and that's just it, really. It wasn't particularly amazing in plot or character. I just really enjoyed it for what it was, just cheese, really. And then getting into the pretension, because I've got to. Number 2 is Son of Saul.
Yes.
because, like you said, it's depressing, so it feels weird to say it as like in the enjoyable films list. But I just thought it was really, really well made and really well written and acted and everything.
I would say the reason it wasn't in my top 10 isn't just because I'm like, oh, it's a sad film. No, it's because I genuinely thought the first 20 minutes were quite boring, and it took me a while to get into it, and I think it definitely really got to me towards the end. But I do genuinely think, like, the first act or so was a little unengaging, and that's why it's not in there, not because I don't want to put a sad film in my top 10. Just
yeah. But and I sort of agree with you, and I feel like it's a bit skewed in that the way that you kind of talked about the Oscar films, Chris, in that it came out so long ago that it's kind of hard to remember it in the same context with films that you just saw like a month ago.
Yeah.
I think that while the beginning's not as engaging, it's not like with Arrival where it's just like, it's a bit annoying. It's just unengaging. It's like neutral as opposed to not great.
Yeah.
And then my number one's Anomalisa because I'm...
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm biased.
Well, yeah, you interviewed him. That's the only reason why. You fucking prick.
Well, the reason why I wanted to interview him is because he's my favourite screenwriter, and also it was just a really well-made film, and it was animated, and the animation was lovely, and it was just a really interesting film, and I feel like I haven't seen it since it came out in cinemas, so I feel like that could be another one with an asterisk on, but I liked it for what it was, and I thought that it was out of the I'd say it was the best film of 2016 for me, even if it wasn't the one that I enjoyed the most.
Okay, yeah. That sounds fair. I want to put another honourable mention I just remembered out there. Batman v Superman's extended cut was genuinely a good film. It was a genuinely good film. It still had problems, because like things like Granny's peach tea and Martha are still in it. But at least actually the Martha thing is a lot less stupid in it though. So yeah, I really actually, even if you didn't like Batman vs Superman, I genuinely recommend that extended cut. But my reason for not putting it in there is no film should have to be 3 hours to make sense. Yeah. Like, that's just bad storytelling. If you need 3 hours for it to be good, then you fucked up. But
yeah,
because like even the Lord of the Rings are pretty long, but they make sense in their theatrical cuts, and you could theoretically make them even shorter, and they still make sense.
Lord of the Rings are adapting something that's already that long, whereas Batman vs Superman, they could have done whatever they wanted. They were just taking from random sources, and they put this together, something that is that convoluted and long. So it's their fault.
Yeah, I mean, without having seen the extended cut, I tentatively would put it in my honourable mentions, not for the film itself, but for the fact that like they cast Ben Affleck as Batman, and he is genuinely the best on-screen Batman we've had. Like, I know that's quite controversial with like the Nolan films, but I don't think Batman's actually that great in them. It's the story and the other characters I think that are really great in this. And don't get me wrong, I love Chris Nolan's Batman films, but Ben Affleck's one is by far.
No, he's very cool.
I'll give you that. Although I don't think that there's enough to warrant that just yet. In that if the Ben Affleck the Batman comes out and it's better, then I'll be willing to give it. But I just don't think that there's enough in this one film to where he doesn't even get the leading role. He's like the side star. I don't as opposed to the trilogy that we got with Christian Slater.
There's another thing I want to stand
up
for.
What I should say, actually, just on that, is what I mean is the most comic accurate Batman. So,
I knew.
Like, most authentic comic accurate Batman.
But Batman doesn't kill in the comics.
He does.
People don't realise this. People don't.
He does. But I also want to actually genuinely stand.
That was fake anger. I just want to put that across.
Sorry. I also want to say that I genuinely enjoyed Jesse Eisenberg's performance in it. So. I thought he was entertaining, and maybe it's just because I hate. Maybe it's because I hate Max Landis so much, and I liked the idea of presenting Max Landis as an evil megalomaniac. But whatever. And also, I know a lot of people hate it, but I thought The Killing Joke was a decent adaptation as well. I quite enjoyed The Killing Joke. It wasn't great, but. I think just on the strength of the story it was adapting, it still had some quality. If you like at the start of the year, I was just so sure that Suicide Squad was going to be great. The fact that Suicide Squad isn't in here is a testament to just how much they messed up.
It has been a messy year, hasn't it? Like you were saying, Harrison, I have actually seen quite a lot of films this year.
Yeah.
I think the higher majority of them are not even just qualifying, like for the top 10, and the rubbish pile of the worst 10.
Most of the films I saw were either really, really bad or just thoroughly average. That was most of my year.
I've got another honourable mention actually that I thought of during this. I actually saw this film called Contagion. Ben would quite like it because it's set all in one location. It's set in a tower block, and obviously there's kind of a virus thing. And
Ben would like it. It's set in one location.
It was actually shot in Southampton. It was all shot in Southampton, which was really cool.
Because when you say
it was
Contagion,
tower blocks in the outer skirts of Southampton. I actually saw it at. It did get a cinema release, but I didn't see it until I saw it at the Eastleigh Film Festival, and it was really good, solid indie. It obviously has faults, like the enemies are just faceless kind of people in hazmat suits, and there's literally no kind of motivation besides this. Oh, it's the government, and the government are doing this thing. But the main ensemble cast are really, really good for an indie. Really good mix of characters, and really, really good film. It was directorial debut as well, so it was a good film to watch. So I'm putting that in my honourable mentions. Actually, that was something I enjoyed this year.
Yeah.
I did have another one, but
I think I'd just watch it just because it's a film near Southampton, and that'd be interesting to watch.
I think that added to it. I was really, really impressed. I think the guy's semi-local as well that wrote and directed it.
Yeah.
My other one actually is The Girl with All the Gifts.
I never saw that. Was it good?
Yeah,
is that the British one or the American one? Because there were two very similar films this year, weren't there?
Yeah, it's the British zombie one.
Right.
The first half is really good, because
it sounds like The Last of Us
zombie kind of thing. I haven't played that, but I think the second half I see the comparisons in the locale because it takes place in like an overgrown London and stuff, and aren't there like plant enemies?
Yeah, well, and it's like about guys escorting some. In the case of The Last of Us, it's about a girl immune to the infection, and they're escorting her because everyone wants her. You're escorting her across this area, so she has a gift. If she's immune.
Yeah,
does she have all the gifts?
No, she just has a gift. But it's like a begrudging. It's like this hard man mercenary type who. Doesn't like her, and she's just a job at first, and then slowly they actually care about each other. But it reminded me of that from the trailers, anyway.
Yeah, no, I see that comparison. Yeah, because the plot line once they get out of the kind of the bunker is escorting this girl because she's the hope of humanity and all that and stuff.
Yeah.
But what's really controversial about it and has pissed some people off is, and I think it's great that it does this. Like, if I can go into spoiler territory,
fine.
Is
for me
the
anyway.
ending because it's been out a while. The ending is like really like anti-humanist. It's like really like Charles Darwin, like evolutionary, like as in the humans need to die out.
Okay.
So
it's kind of like the original ending to I Am Legend. The book ending.
Oh, I have read the book, but I can't remember how that goes. But it's
basically the idea is that Will Smith is meant to die. Well, Will Smith, the character that Will Smith played, because the idea is that zombies are the next evolution of humans, so they deserve to continue the bloodline.
Yeah,
now
pretty much. Yeah,
same thing.
It's like pretty much. Which pisses a lot of people off because they're like, we're humans, we want the humans to survive. But it always just seems so dire, like that every zombie film ends with that kind of thing of like, it gets to the point where, we've suddenly found some kind of potential solution or cure for humanity. We've got to protect it. And then it's successful. It's quite nice to have one that's still got a positive ending, but doesn't follow that formula. Anyway, what I want to get main to is actually the first half is so good, like tension, and it's got a lot of just like continuous shots in the bunker, and in the first kind of like outbreak bit where the like the compound gets breached is a breached is a really, really good sequence. Really great, really tense, and lots of stuff going on. So yeah, it's a really good film.
Given what you just said, I think you genuinely would enjoy The Last of Us, because it also has a very, very good ending that is both dark and depressing, but also kind of not. So I think you would genuinely like The Last of Us based on that. Play it. Everyone should play it.
Well, I mean, I have every means to. I just don't own a PlayStation.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I've wanted to play it for years, but I just haven't got the tech for it. But
cool. Jack, any honourable mentions from you? Or have you done
mine were basically all of the Oscar films that we saw. So Big Short, Spotlight, Room, and Creed. Creed, I thought was surprisingly, it was better than I thought it would be, but not enough to get top 10 worthy.
Did anyone consider The Hateful Eight?
No.
Neither did I, and I again kind of expected The Hateful Eight to be one of my favourite films.
Yeah, and it wasn't. I can't. I mean, I think I saw it twice, and I still can't. It's not that memorable for me, really, which is a shame.
Yeah,
but, I haven't seen it, but
as well was Daniel Blake was an honourable mention. Swiss Army Man, because even though it was just, it felt like it was meant to be stupid humour for a lot of it, and it was stupid humour for a lot of it, and then it went really overly sentimental about a film with a farting corpse, and I just there's no and it's kind of a play on how over sentimental some of these indie films are, but then it felt like it
became what it was parodying.
It stopped becoming ironic around like 2/3 of the way through, and it was just, and it felt like they had this funny idea for a film, and then they didn't know how to end it properly.
They had a funny idea for a short film.
It feels like a funny short film that they thought they could, that they managed to get the funding for a feature. Don't Breathe, I thought was an honourable mention, just because it was decent horror thriller.
I would have found it much easier to do, as me and Jack were joking yesterday, to do a top 10 most mediocre films of the year. I could fill that list. BFG.
Oh God.
Pride, Prejudice and Zombies. Or would that be bad? I don't know. Star Trek Beyond.
That's the middle ground between
Jason Bourne.
Entertaining, but in not the way it wanted to be. That is like
that's true. Yeah,
mediocre, isn't it?
Mediocre films you just don't care.
Jack, please edit in. Oh my God, it's Jason Bourne. He made it into the video.
It was just the most
I do really like that
average spy film, and it felt like someone just cut to pieces different parts from different Jason Bourne films and put them together. But the worst part is, because all the Jason Bourne films are so similar, I couldn't even tell. Like, you could just edit. You could cut
it's
any
funny,
part
my brother
from
said
the
he watched it literally just for that. Oh my God, it's Jason Bourne bit. I was like, yeah, that's a standout moment.
But you could just cut scenes from any Jason Bourne film, stick them in any random order, and it would still probably make sense. Because they're just the same film but the person in the control room pointing at computers changes.
Is it a reboot as such, or is it a continuation?
No, it's a sequel.
It's a continuation. But the thing is, I haven't seen any of the first three. I just watched this Jason Bourne one, and it's completely put me off ever watching that franchise because it's
the worst.
It was fine, but I mean, yeah, that's why I've
worse
heard.
Than
but
the
I mean,
Jeremy Renner one.
I would say yes.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I would say it is worse than the Jeremy Renner one.
A lot of reviews that I kind of read were basically saying at least it's not the Jeremy Renner one.
Well, whatever. It's a fairly close contest, I'd say, between them.
This is secretly Harris's favourite one of the series.
I guess Doctor Strange was okay.
Okay.
The last 10 minutes...
that's me agreeing with you as well.
The last 10 minutes of Blair Witch were great.
But that's just exactly the same as the last one.
But it's just a shame about the preceding hour and 10 minutes.
That's pretty much my review of Blair Witch 1.
Yeah, no, well, I more or less agree with you, but I would say that the first hour and 10 minutes are worse than the first hour of 10 minutes of Blair Witch 1, but the last 10 minutes of this are better than the last 10 minutes of Blair Witch, so...
Would you say that, what was the other film that you said you really liked a segment of, but not the entire thing?
I don't know, I mentioned that about I, Daniel Blake, because I hadn't seen it all. I said I
yeah, because you said you liked those 10 minutes. Yeah,
I liked what I saw.
So you want to take the last 10 minutes of Blair Witch as well as
and stick it together, and stick it together with I, Daniel Blake. So he goes from one of his interviews into the house from the Blair Witch and gets chased around by Slender Woman.
I think that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get to see Moana.
It's
good.
I
feel like
think
might have made it.
I think you'd like it.
I got the chance.
Because I know you're not like a huge Frozen fan, but you like Tangled and whatnot. I think you'd like it. I think you'd enjoy it.
Yeah. I wasn't like a massive fanboy for them, but I liked them.
This, to me, of Frozen and Tangled, Moana was the best one.
Okay. I'd be more than willing to give it a chance then. Cool. Alright, is there anything else we want to talk about with this year of film?
Can I quickly go through my worst?
Yeah, sure.
The things that were fucking shit. I've not got an order here. Independence Day Resurgence was one of the worst blockbusters I've seen in a long time. Like, I fully expected it to be fun, but kind of bad, but it was just bad. And it has, like, such a massive scale, but you know, like how when you watch Rogue One or Godzilla, Gareth Edwards has these big things and they feel big. Like the AT-ATs feel huge. Godzilla feels huge. There is a ship the size of Earth in Independence Day Resurgence and it does not feel big or anything. They drop one country.
It's the size of Earth.
Yes. Oh no, it's the size of half of Earth. It covers half of it. They pick up, I think it's China, and drop it on London. And it still doesn't feel big or epic, and none of the characters care. No one cares that that's happened. It all feels so small and tedious. How can a film where one country is dropped on another country feel tedious? So that film was crap. There was Me, Him, Her, which is that's my definite number one.
Yeah.
I could not stand that hipster, pretentious piece of shit. Then there was Darling, which me and you saw. That was horrendous. It's like an art horror, which means horror when nothing happens. Literally, the only scares from this film come from the score. The score just does jump scares for no reason. You just characters are sat like eating dinner or sat at a table, and then something will just go, boom, and you go, ah! And that's it. There's no actual source for the scare in the film. Friend Request, which felt, as we said, it felt like a South Park episode. Like, it treats losing friends as if it's the scariest thing ever. Pride, Prejudice and Zombies.
Wait, is that not a South Park episode?
I think it might be. Pride, Prejudice and Zombies is just bad and not even entertaining with it. It is just bad. 9 Lives was...
That ending,
yeah, that ending was really bad.
The last act was just atrocious.
9 Lives was genuinely a surreal experience. I was kind of just watching it shocked that it was real. Like, I genuinely thought, like, this is like a skit or something, right? Like, this is one of the films that you would watch in Tropic Thunder, right? This isn't real, but it was. It was astounding. The only reason it's not my worst is just because I was kind of getting enjoyment from how just dumbfounded I was. Do-Over, which is the Adam Sandler Netflix film, which was just... It was another part in the ongoing Adam Sandler con where we get to pay him to go on holidays with his friends. Because it's just like, oh, let's go to this place, and then what are we going to do? I don't know, we'll make something up there. We'll just jump in pools for an hour and a half. Yay! And it features this really bizarre like streak of violence towards women. Like, I'm not the type of person who gets, SJWE, but it was just uncomfortable. There's like a bit where Adam Sandler, like, I can't remember exactly, I think he flashes a woman, and she kind of goes like, oh no, so he shoots a flare gun at her, and you're supposed to think that he's like a charming rogue, but it was just like, what the fuck? It was just upsetting. I was like, oh no. Was the girl in the photographs, that was this year, wasn't it?
Yep, that was also this year.
That was just offensive in its mediocrity. It was so offensively mediocre. Oh boy. Ghostbusters. The Legend of Tarzan. The Legend of Tarzan. Wow. I mean, just wow. How unbearably dull that was. And on that subject, David Yates also has Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, which I hated. I gave it 5 out of 10 at the time, and since speaking with Ben about it, I realised that I was just being generous, because I thought, I don't like Harry Potter, maybe it's just me. No, it's fucking awful. It's so badly made, the plot is just a fucking mess, I hate it. And I saw like Kevin James one too.
I liked it, apart from the final act, but the final act is just...
It is bad.
Not enjoyable, standard Hollywood VFX.
Yeah, that's definitely the worst part of it. Yeah, that is absolutely the worst section of it. And I kind of want to give Suicide Squad a place here, even though I didn't hate it. But it should have had me in the palm of its hand, and the fact that it didn't means that it really must have messed up big time, because I should have just loved it. So I feel like it I
think a lot of people would agree with you on that.
Like, yeah, it's not like I genuinely did not hate it. I kind of sort of enjoy watching it to an extent, but how it isn't as good as it should be is just, it really is kind of baffling that it managed to get released the way it is. Like a studio could just go, yes, we'll release this as it is. I think
I've got 2 additions to worst film lists. Trolls.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Which I absolutely hated beyond belief.
Yeah, I can't imagine Jack sitting Trolls and enjoying it.
I went to... So they did it as... they were giving away free tickets because they couldn't sell all of them for a screening in London. They had like a rainbow carpet like their hair, and it was filled with children. And I've never been in a cinema with so many children to see a comedy and never heard one laugh the entire thing. It was... and then my other addition is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows.
You saw that?
That wasn't that bad.
It wasn't good.
It wasn't good, but it didn't make me angry.
No, it didn't make me angry, but it was among the worst that I saw this year. I didn't see that many.
That line was amazing, though.
It gave me a good line, though. Yeah, because since you've seen it now, you know that the line's real.
Yeah. Well, I should say I haven't technically seen it, but I watched a review of it that was like an hour long and showed me most of the film, so I know what happens in it.
Oh, right, okay.
I have the gist. I kind of seen it. But yes, that line was shown in it.
Yeah.
Say the line.
It's I think, what is it? It's like, they say if you don't want to get work done, don't go to the zoo.
It's like that old saying.
It's a completely nonsensical line.
They say it as if it's like a thing people say. It's like they always say, if you want to get work done, don't go to the zoo. Special correspondence. That one was just...
Yeah,
that was
the
dictionary definition of lame. Like, the joke, half the time we didn't even know if jokes were jokes. Like, there's just a bit where they're on the phone and someone goes like, oh no, we're going into a tunnel. And that's the scene. It's like, that's the joke. It's just a minor inconvenience as someone drives into a tunnel. And it was really weird. We would just look at each other going like, was that the joke? Was that the punchline? And then there's the whole like, I'm a nerd character because I have Marvel figurines.
That
in my
annoyed
room.
you a lot. Yeah.
It was like, Chris, basically that they write the main character as like an adorable nerd, but they have no understanding of nerd culture, and so he keeps saying things like, "Oh, that's Spider-Man issue number 6. That's a good one."
18, I think it was.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
He just like picks a random issue of Spider-Man. He's like,
"That's a good one because I got it."
And then
I own that
there's
one.
this bit in his room where he goes like, "Oh, here's a limited edition figurine of Thor that's like so many years old, and it's Chris Hemsworth's Thor. It's clearly like just a normal action figure, and then they do the whole cliche thing like it's not a doll, it's an action figure, and it's not even an action figure because it's like a bust thing.
That's a figurine.
Yeah, you can't move it, so it's not an action figure. So it drove me insane. It's like if you're gonna do those cliches, at least make sure they're right. I hated that one.
I think I want to add 2 more to, like you said, Suicide Squad. I'd agree with you on that. I disliked it way more than you did.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a technical mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was worst editing I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
So
was
bad.
terrible. What was the Slipknot or whatever, the guy that gets shot instantly though? It was that put it up a star for me. It was so that was one of my funniest moments of 2016.
The superhero with like the zip lines or whatever.
Yeah.
The grapple hook guy. I mean, thank God he got killed off early, because if he had like a hero moment, that would have been such a disappointment.
Chris, you laugh, but they were preparing to fight Kryptonians if they came back. And I know that if Zod was knocking down Metropolis again, the person they'd need would be Slipknot and Harley Quinn with her baseball bat, ready to take on those Kryptonians.
I just like the quick cuts where people show his introduction followed by his death.
Yeah.
And they just go, he can climb anything, and it's just him slowly hopping up a building and then dying.
yeah, when he just suddenly like jumps out of that jeep and you're just like, oh what, there's another guy in Suicide Squad, and then he quickly gets killed. Like, it's just so obvious the fact that like, oh right, we need to kill this guy off, so we're pretty tight on time, so let's just not give him like a pre-story so people don't get attached to him. He's just like, I bet they shot a whole like origin story bit for him. And they just cut it.
Yeah.
And he must have gone to the premiere with like all his family.
Yeah. If you watch
He just sat there, just shrinking and shrinking in his seat. And they're just like
his family turn to him and go like, oh, you come back though, right? You're not really dead. And he's like, yeah.
Oh my god, I can't wait for his like spin-off series.
I thought Katana had an even weirder introduction, because she just walks on the helicopter, you don't know who she is or why, and then that guy just goes, this is Katana, her blade traps the souls of its victims, and everyone's okay with it. Everyone's just like,
and they
alright.
don't even do that in the film at all. She doesn't like trap anyone's soul or anything. It's just like,
exactly.
This is just a weird icebreaker.
But isn't it like she sees? Isn't it like she sees like her dead husband or something like that? I have no idea why she's working for them.
No.
Why she's like part of the Suicide Squad now? Yeah.
It seems like she's just like the enforcer, but then at some point she just like mellows a bit and it's like, all right, you guys are all right.
And then there's that really like, there's a bit in it that I genuinely think is funny, and then they just completely counteract it. It's like, remember that bit in Spectre where he goes, that line where we know what C stands for, and you're like, ha ha, and then it goes careless, and you go, oh, and you want to retract the laugh back into you. They do it in Suicide Squad, because there's that bit where they go like, they're at the bar, and everyone starts going like, well, I'm with you, and everything, and it's like, we're gonna team up, and then Captain Boomerang just picks up all the stuff and runs out, and that's it. It's like, I'm just gone. And it's like, that's funny. It's like he didn't do the cliche thing. And then the next shot is just with them walking down the street all of a sudden. It's like, oh, what? Okay. He just waited outside and was like, psych, and then just decided to walk with him anyway. It's like they actually had a funny joke, and then they got rid of it.
Yeah.
And my other final addition to the list, just because I can't think of anything more, was Nerve.
Oh, yeah.
The gambling
I still kind of want to see that.
thriller. I wouldn't say don't.
Yeah.
Like it's just it's fun. It's fun enough, but it's so stupid.
It looks like it's just having youth culture, internet, millennials.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I use the Facebooks. This film is like what I.
If you use the Facebooks, you're too old, Harrison. You got to use the Snapchats now. You got to Vine it.
It made me think because I too do these things, but I don't really.
Yeah.
I use the internet. But I've never engaged in life or death scenarios with it. But it still made me think.
It's just ridiculous. Just thinking about it, it has the same like knowledge of that famous hackers film now. They go to a secret, like at one point, like so the game's getting too serious, so they go to this hacker base, and it's just a bunch of like really trendy hipsters playing ping pong with like computer screens on the walls, and they're like, "Oh, we love ping pong here. We challenge each other while we hack things." It's ridiculous. I laughed at it, but at the same time, I thought it was bad.
Like something purpose built for you to hate. I would like to also put out a couple of overrated films, or films that I personally did not get. Number one is The Jungle Book, which we talked about, because I thought that was
still haven't seen it.
Terrible. I thought it was joyless. I thought that it completely missed the tone of The Jungle Book and went for a dark, gritty, generic tone. They balls up the songs to a completely ghastly extent, particularly the King Louis sequence. I Want to Be Like You. Such an upbeat song.
Yeah.
In the cartoon, everyone's dancing and having fun. In this, Christopher Walken monkey is stood up, waving like one of those floaty arm dolls, whilst everyone else just sort of sits watching him do a spoken word version of I Want to Be Like You. And I genuinely could not believe that other people saw this film and thought it was good. I was shocked. Shocked.
It's made me worried for the Lion King reboot that they're doing now.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, it's the same. It's Jon Favreau is doing a live action Lion King.
How is that live action?
Well, it's Disney
CGI?
live action in that everything's CGI, but one person might not be, or it might be.
But there's no people.
No, they'll do what is it? Avatar-ness, where it's motion capture, and that makes it not 3D.
Why would you motion capture a lion? Why would you do that?
No, you got Rafiki.
That doesn't make any sense. Okay, I guess.
Fun thing on that. I actually, this year, accidentally, unintentionally, without knowing it, partook in a workshop with, like, a motion cap guy.
Right.
It was, like, and end up having to, like, go around a studio, like, pretending to be a monkey. So, yeah, watch out, Planet of the Apes cast. Here comes Chris Evans. It was actually such like a random thing. I did not foresee it happening at all. It was like at like a short fest thing, and they're like workshops and stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just like going to be a talk, and then it was just like full on like take his shoes off.
Obviously, actually got like the
really,
ping pong
really
suit.
Interesting though.
Where they got like tracking points.
No, unfortunately, I didn't get to wear the ping pong suit. But yeah, it was one of the guys that wears the ping pong suits, and was in like Planet of the Apes and stuff, and he was like doing that.
Oh, that sounds really fun. Yeah.
It was really cool, but it was just the most unforeseen random filmic moment of my year, I think.
Well,
did you guys think anything was abysmally overrated? Oh, Midnight Special, that was overrated too. That was so boring.
I haven't watched that yet.
I was genuinely excited. I genuinely really wanted to like it. And I was so bored. It reminded me a bit of... You've seen Cop Car, Jack?
Yeah.
It reminded me of Cop Car. It was just like shots of people sat, and it's doing that whole minimalist thing. It's like characters don't need to speak or visibly emotionally react to anything. If people just sit with a blank face, we'll assume it's emotionally subtle. But you're just watching people sit, looking bored. I don't care how restrained or emotionally deep you think that is. It's just boring to watch. Characters sat in cars looking bored is boring. And the thing is, it tries so hard to make its story mysterious. Like it doles out information so slowly, as if it's not immediately apparent exactly what's happening. Like, it's exact from minute one, what you think is happening is what's happening. But it treats it as if it's supposed to be mysterious, but it's not. I don't want to spoil it for you in case you do watch it, but I could just so easily say what's happening, and it's exactly the first thing that I assumed was happening. But it just takes an hour and a half to happen. I did not like that film. Did not like that film. Were there any others that people thought were overrated?
Yeah, I don't have anything else to add at all.
No, I'm all vented out.
Right, so that just about wraps up everything. We're good to end it all?
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Right, yeah, so thank you very much for listening. We're Real Opinions. You can catch us all on social media separately or on our Just Real Opinions account. You can listen to all of our reviews throughout the year on YouTube, as well as all the podcasts that we've got, which we can also get on iTunes. And yeah, that's just about it. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.